Hello everyone and welcome. We are here, we are live, we are ready to go, and we are picking up exactly where we were last week. Sorry about the day change, by the way. I did have a function I had to go to yesterday afternoon, but I'm glad so many people were able to find me on this alternate day. Next week, back to Tuesdays again. So no worries there, but we are with this whole collection of Mun relays that I've actually been working on now for a couple of streams. We got 3 relays here, and what I want to do is deploy them around the moon. And the moon is kind of there it is, way up there. We are in, can pull this out a bit, quite an inclined orbit. But to be honest, the inclination doesn't matter when it comes to relays, so I'm not going to make any efforts to change this inclination. We're going to stay the way it is. And by the way, the reason why I'm in this orbit is because I did have a contract to just put a satellite into, a position in a specific orbit type of thing. And I thought, well, why don't I do that? And then we'll go and deploy these relays. So that's going to be the very next step, is deploying these relays in around the moon into orbits that will... I always get people that tell me you're not quite getting, this spot and that spot, excuse me, on the surface. That's true. But will give me pretty darn close to 100% coverage of the moon. So we'll talk about orbits and how to deploy them and all that kind of stuff. So if you've never done that kind of thing before, excuse me, I'm just going to get a little bit of water here. If you've never done that kind of thing before, I'm hoping this might help you out. I do have a contract to place a relay satellite, just one, in orbit about the moon. I've met all the contract requirements except for I got to get my apoapsis below 1,100 kilometers. You can see here we're at 3,400 kilometers. We're going to bring it down. We're going to come down a lot lower than where we are now. And the other plan I got for today is still focusing around the moon, because I do have this Moons program strategy that's coming from the Strategia mod that rewards me for doing stuff around the moon, specifically uncrewed stuff around the moon. So once this is all taken care of, go look at mapping satellites and getting some more science going as well. But why don't we start off with getting this to a more appropriate orbit? So what I want to do, and I can actually start right now, I think I'm just going to start. Let's just snap this to retrograde. And I did do some working out of how much this is all going to cost. Maybe I shouldn't say the number. I think I should have plenty. I should have plenty of fuel. I always get a little worried at this point. But the first thing I want to do is I want to bring my periapsis down to, and I wrote this down somewhere, 554.85 kilometers. And how many, you know what, I shouldn't mess around with... I should use a maneuver node. I got 34 ignitions still left on this engine, so let's do this right. So I'm going to add a maneuver node. And I want this periapsis to be... What do we want? 30... I already said it, and I've already forgot it. 554... see here, 554.85. So I'm looking down here. I love that this gives you your predicted orbit when you have the maneuver. 554.85. Turn the scale down a little bit more. We will undoubtedly having to be doing some minor tweaking of this. How low does this scale go? I'll never burn it this accurately anyway. I don't know why I'm doing this. Oh my god, that's 554.85 right on the button. And that is a 45 meter per second burn, and I had budgeted 50. Oh my gosh, I feel good about that. Okay, so that burn's coming up in 58 minutes. Let's get a little closer to us, because I don't think there's any... Oh, let's just do it. So what I do have, I do have KOS in this thing. I was having some adventures with KOS previous to this one. Where's the KOS? Last week, and I kind of stopped it, and then Between the streams, I was looking at my maneuver execution program. Here we are. And I think I have it working better. At least I hope that I have it working better. So I'm going to try and use the maneuver execution program for this. Now, one thing to notice is that this burn is only 1 second long. That is a really short burn. And this script doesn't handle really short burns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just really turn down this thrust limiter. 12 seconds is much more appropriate. All right. Let's face reveal at 100 subs. Oh my gosh. That means getting a camera and all that stuff. Okay, what do we got here? Oh yeah, we're getting to this. So let's actually run the program. So I should be able to run execute maneuver. You know, I'm going to do a quick save because I'm really nervous about my lack of... Boom. There we go. So it's orienting itself now to the appropriate vector. Let's get to... Whoa! I hadn't quite hit time warp and hadn't quite settled into its thing yet. So you can see we are well above the height of the moon. But that should be changing pretty soon. Is this a science or career mode? This is a career mode, and it is, yeah, and heavily modded career mode is what this is. Now, the one thing I've been noticing with my maneuver executor is it is habitually late, but it seems to do okay, my KOS program, but it always seems to start after this says it should start. But it does okay, so I'm just kind of going with it. It seems, you know... Like, one of the things I look at is when I'm halfway through this burn, am I right at about the halfway point here? And if you look here, there, I am at the node now, and I'm just at halfway there. Like, to me, that feels like it's actually doing it right. Okay, remember what I'm shooting for? 554.85. Doesn't have to be that exactly. We'll see how close it comes. $554.51. That's plenty close enough. Happy with that. Excellent. I also have a run alignment along the normal vector. Boom. Which should get this to orient itself in an appropriate way for solar panels. That's cool. And now, what we want to do next is get ourselves down here. Might just... Well, no, I can do it from here. And put ourselves into what's... I always call it a phasing orbit, but I know other people call it something else. But an orbit that is what we'll be dropping our satellites from. Now, the eventual orbit I want these satellites in... This is where a bit of explanation comes in. Let's center this on the moon. The eventual orbit I want is going to have a period of 3 hours. And then each satellite is going to be dropped an hour apart from each other, and that will equally space them around that orbit, because the period of the orbit is 3 hours. To accomplish that, I want this orbit to be 1 hour longer, so 4 hours. So basically, this is just going to be a burn, and what I'm looking at more than anything is the period of that burn, much more than anything else. So we're going down till a period is 4 hours long. Why did... Oh, that makes sense. Yes, I should have brought that periapsis down further. That's okay. I'm doing it a little backwards. I actually should have... I could do it now. You know what? I should do it now. I should have brought this down to my eventual one of 3... Yeah, let's... Sorry, I'm confusing myself. Let's delete this. I should have brought my periapsis down to... I read the wrong number. 341.33. The actual altitude of my final orbit. So we're going to do one more little burn here. Yeah, that's my mistake. Wrong number to begin with. We can still fix it. So what I say, 341.33. That's going to be the altitude of the final orbit. and an altitude of 340, a circular orbit with an altitude of 341.33 kilometers has a period of exactly 3 hours. And that's different. I actually only found this out while I was doing this. That's different than it is for the Mun, as most people like to say, in the stock game. It's a little bit lower. The gravity around here is actually a little bit less than our KSP Mun, which I find interesting. Okay, let's do this one. So I'm gonna get this stopped. Let's time warp a little bit closer to the burn. It's a 2-second burn. Let's see if we can, whoops, again, reduce this throttle a little bit. Make that burn longer. Longer is better. Okay. Get ourselves a little... So sorry about the sudden change of plan here. It'll all make sense soon. So I'm going to get myself a little closer to the burn. All right. Let's try that maneuver executor again. So run execute maneuver. So what's this? I should change your KOS script to automatically change the thrust limiter to always have a minimum time burn of, for example, 10 seconds. That'd be a good idea. I have to figure out how to do that. But that actually would be a good idea. So I'm not doing it all the time. And then it would do it before because what really messes it up is if I, it's already working out when it should start to burn, and then if I change the thrust limiter, my script is all messed up. So that would be a good idea. Okay. So sorry, another little burn here. So again, what am I shooting for? 341.33. So hopefully that'll work. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, I'm seeing CH modding, and I see a lot of letters in what you said, and I have no idea what any of those are, except for IVA. Oh man, you can't talk to me in acronyms, man. All you'll do is confuse me. All right, this is taking a nice long time. I love it. I love it. People are always in a rush in this game. I want to do like full thrust like all the time. There's no rush. Ah! Very realistic IVA mods for command pods. I like looking at the ships though. I do have videos somewhere where I did some IVA missions like rendezvousing with a space station and stuff, all... using raster prop monitor. I don't know if that was one of their... That was a long time ago. Okay, how we doing? How we doing? Again, 341.33 kilometers. So 345, 344, 343, 341 point... Yeah, pretty close to 1 decimal place. That's good. We'll cut that, cut that, cut that. That's happy, that's happy, that's happy. Let's again run that alignment thing for the solar panels. I gotta use this more. I really do. Okay, now I'm going to do this right. So again, if I circularized here, that would give me an orbit of 3 hours, but that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this down until I have an orbit of 4 hours. So it's going to, Apple Waps, this is going to be a little bit too high. And I love that I can get the period prediction right there for me. That's super handy. I can see my scale is a little off because the two periapsi are not right on top of each other, so I'm just going to adjust the timing here a little bit. There we go. And let's see, let's up the scale. Okay, that was a little bit too much. Okay, a few more seconds. Again, it's unlikely it'll do this burn to this degree of accuracy, but there we are, 4 hours right on the button. So that is going to be, again, I'm going to call it the phasing orbit. I'm forgetting what the right word is. Drift orbit. No, it's not drift, something else. Okay, F5. All right, let's, you know what? Let's use the Kerbal alarm clock. Rather than this warp to 1 minute before. I'm going to use Kerbal alarm clock. I'm going to add, give me 3 minutes before. That gets me time to get this all set up for that thing. Boom. Okay, so that's in 2 days. Wow, that's a long way off. Okay, yeah, let's time warp to that. Oh, I'm looking at Kerbin. Where's the moon? Should be like straight up there. There we go. We're going to see the moon now a lot closer. Oh, change the thrust. Thank you very much. Yeah, my thrust is saying this is a really long burn. So we'll fix that. That's why I'm stopping 3 minutes before, so I have time to fix all that. Excellent. Oh, I think my... I gotta remember to turn this off. Okay, it's reset itself up for the solar panels. It kind of got all goofy. So now the moon's below us down here. There we go. A lot closer. Okay, yeah, change the thrust. Change in the thrust. 15-second burn. That's a nice burn. You can see how little thrust you really need. Okay. Do that. Okay, let's run our maneuver executor, which is execute maneuver, not the other way around. There we go. Don't need alarm clock anymore. Still haven't got my apoapsis down low enough. So as soon as the apoapsis drops below 1,100 kilometers, this contract should satisfy, but we're still going to do better than that. Well, Maxim, I'm glad got electricity to watch. Oh, you were requiring electricity to watch the stream. I'm sorry to hear that, Maxim. But I'm glad you're here. Is there, I'm assuming, some sort of power failure? Okay, get ourselves a little closer here, and then I'm going to stop the time warping. So again, what I'm shooting for is a period of 4 hours, but we should also be seeing this come clean. I'm from, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Maxim. I'm sorry, but yeah. I'm glad you have electricity. Okay, here we go. And there we go. Our contract has gone green. So that is good news. And let's go see what our orbit comes out to be. Five seconds too short. I expected something like that. So we're going to put this down to like 0.5, which is as low as you can put that thrust limiter. I'm going to actually put the number in. We're going to spin this around to prograde. And we're just going to add just a little bit. Just get 5 more seconds onto this period. I'm doing a teeny tiny burn. Probably you're not even seeing it, but the time's going up. Excellent. Okay, so 4 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. You can actually get Kerbal Engineer if you really want to get. You can get Kerbal Engineer to show you the period, and it can show you to like the 10th of a second. This will be good enough. Okay. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just spinning my thingy around just randomly for no reason. Okay, so can I drop a satellite now? Should I do? No, I think I should wait until I come around to periapsis again to drop my first satellite. There's no rush here. Oh, we're going to have a good signal with Earth all the way through. I think we got a signal through this whole orbit because of how inclined it is. Okay. So we're going to push delete. And we are now, should be all lined up for solar panels. This contract is now done. Where are my contract windows? There we go. What's the message say? Is it anything? A relay is in position. Well, it is not in position just yet, Mr. Contract. We still have some more work to do. So we're going to use alarm clock here. Going to set an alarm for periapsis. We're going to give ourselves 5 minutes warning and best click on periapsis. So that's coming up in 3 hours and 56 minutes. Add that alarm. Okay, and let's do a little trip around the moon. Actually put this on free view. I always find that works better. There we go. Do I plan on making a colonization series? I've never really... This is my biggest issue with KSP, is I find once I am getting close, once I'm finishing off the tech tree, I find myself, I kind of get bored. I know that's terrible, but I can't deny that that's what happens to me. And then I kind of want to get another batch of mods and other things distract me. And I just, so the whole effort of doing, my big thing is always unlocking the tech tree. And then I sort of go, okay, I'm kind of done. But we'll get into probably some bases and stuff like on the moon. I'm kind of like that idea. I don't know about a full-on colonization thing, but we'll see. Okay, where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Oh, we got to drop a satellite. So I'm going to do a quick F5 here. We're going to drop our first satellite. So I should have, there's the decoupler. I'm going to do this manually. I'm 90% sure I turned the decoupling force on this thing right down. But I guess we're about to find out whether that's true or not. So, jettison. Jettison, decouple. What's the difference between jettison and decouple? I'm confused. Okay, got to get on that little satellite. Alrighty, we has control. I'm going to give it a little bit of a wiggle woggle to kind of get him to move away. Now, the propulsion on this is... That is one of those Place Anywhere Mark 7 linear thruster ports, and this is RCS fuel, and it's not very much because this thing has very little delta V. The game thinks I have no delta V at all, but the game is wrong. I do have delta V. Let's see if I can use these antennas to give me another bit of a nudge. There we go. Come back this way. And there's some really nice things about using RCS as propellant rather than using liquid fuel and oxidizer. One of them is that an RCS block has an unlimited amount of ignition, so I can flaff about with this as much as I want. I really like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself... Where am I? It says I'm 3 hours from periapsis. Oh, I just passed periapsis. Okay. I thought I said stop. Oh, well, whatever. Whatever. Let's just do this. So to turn this on, I have to just put on RCS. And I should lock this onto retrograde. I should just have to give it throttle. There we go. And we're going. That's it. And I'm just going to bring my period down to 3 hours. That's it. And so I can spend a lot of time flapping about with this. And I overdid it, which is something I tend to do. So what we're going to do is, again, just turn... Don't I have thrust? Yes, I do. And turn down that thrust limiter. Notice here, too, on all these actuation toggles, I only have forward and aft toggled on. All the rest of these are toggled off. And I have forward attached to the throttle. That's how I'm able to do that. Okay, let's again... I got to add 9 seconds to this period. Whoop. I could do the H thing. That still works. Oh, it's too much. Oh my gosh. H was too much. Let's turn this down to like as low as she goes. There we go. So I overdid it the other way. Let's go back, but at least I don't have to worry about ignitions. Okay, I'm going to push H. 4 seconds too much. Oh, now I'm pushing H multiple times, and it takes more than one push to get it to change 1 second. There we go. 3 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. RCS can now come off. This can be... Oh, I don't have a KOS probe core in here, so I have to actually do this manually. Orient this for solar panel purposes. Find that north-south circle. Look for where that galaxy is, the nebula that makes up the galaxy. Rotate this so that it's pointing straight up. Like along this galaxy, and that should be it. If I put this on orbit view now, it should be pointing straight up on the screen. Not quite. There we go. So there's our first relay right there. Okay. You may want to rename each relay. Very, very good plan, or else they all just say like Mun Relays Probe. So we're going to go into control, right? Isn't that where it is? No, command. Rename this. This is Mun Relay 1. Accept. All right, so that is all good. We're probably too far away from our other object. We are, but what's nice is I can select it from here. And let's switch to that target. That's 1. Got to do that 2 more times. Do I have a mod list for Real Solar System RORP1? Yes, if you go to any of those videos, you'll see the whole mod list. I'm replying to Frank here. If you go to any of those videos, you'll see the entire mod list in the description. However, there's a caveat to that. There is an RP1 Express install that's in CCAN. Use that. Don't install all those mods separately. You will drive yourself crazy. All right, let's extend some antennas. Extend that antenna. All right, and this looks like it's all set up well. I think it is. So what we're going to do is, all we got to do now is go around one more time. We'll watch it from here. Oh, we can go back to the target. I just didn't want the target selected anymore. Okay, and so now we have that satellite in its orbit. Let's put on some more communication lines so we can see them all. What's it communicating? What is that line? I don't know where this line's going. That's weird. Okay, let's see if I can do this better with alarm clock. So, because it really seems... Let's stop 10 minutes before if you're going to be weird on me. We'll stop 10 minutes early. Okay. So add that alarm. Okay, and now you can, for those people that have never done this, here's where you'll see it at work. So I'm going to focus on the moon. So again, remember the whole idea is this lower orbit has a period of 3 hours. The blue orbit has a period of 4 hours. So as we go around, we're going to fall 1 hour behind this orbit. And because this is 3 hours, that's 1/3 of an orbit. So this relay we just dropped is this one right here. And we are now coming in, and hopefully we should stop just before periapsis. Beautiful. And we will delete that alarm. And we'll drop our next satellite. So that would be this fella right here. So we will decouple. And actually, why don't I try, let's see which way. Yeah, look at that. I'm just going to sneak that out. Just like, there we go. Park you down here like that. Back to this one. Okay, and same idea. All I got to do is put this on retrograde. And bring its orbital period down to 3 hours. And we are almost at periapsis. How am I so close to periapsis each time? That is so weird. Okay, RCS on. Let's throttle up. Not sure what I'm doing wrong there. It doesn't really matter. Overdid it again. So we're going to really, again, turn down this thrust limiter. down to like nothing. Not nothing, but there we go, 0.05. And again, I'm going to use H. That seems to work best, just tapping the H key. Get this up to exactly 3 hours. Beautiful. RCS off. Get this guy all aligned. Get it on the orbital view. There we go. Oh, I'm still locked to prograde. That's silly. There we go. Relay number 2. Let's rename that one. Command. There we go. Mun Relay 2. And I'll show you what the ultimate test of how well I did this is not only do I have a period of 3 hours, but am I 120 degrees from the satellite that I had previously dropped? And you can check that by going here and selecting Mun Relay 1 as a target and going down to the Rendezvous tab and looking at your angle. Oh, it's 118.6. I'm going to live with that. I think that's pretty good. It should be 120, but you know what? That honestly isn't bad. Okay, let's go back to target selections, select our Mun Relays, and switch to that one. Do one more. Well, you're very welcome. Oh, I'm not sure if you're saying thank you to me, but whoever you're saying thank you to, Frank. Sometimes I catch these chat threads in the middle. Okay, we are going to realign this. Ooh, am I on the right drive? I am. There we go. Okay, one more to go. One more to go. And then what we'll do to finish this off is we have enough fuel left in this guy. We're going to just send it down and crash it into the moon's surface. What you could do, by the way, is rather than have 3 separate ones like this, is just make this third one a relay itself if you want to have one final ugly relay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it up there. Okay, add alarm. And this is, again, periapsis. Okay, let's go 10 minutes warning. Yeah, the 1.4 degrees off is acceptable. Now, because I am not on there exactly, right? It's only to the second because I don't have period being measured as precisely as, I can only measure period to the second here. Where's period? Oh, it's on the first screen. There will be, I can see here that I'm actually at 4 hours and 3 seconds, not 4 hours. It's probably because the decoupling is messing some of this up. Let's decouple this one. Again, can I sneak you out? I can. There we go. Nice. But what was I saying? Yeah, because I'm only getting this to the second, now my periapsis is 9 minutes away. I don't get it. I don't get it. But anyway, it's not exactly correct. And so you will get, it'll take a long period of time, you will get some drifting between these satellites. If that really, really bothers you, one thing you can do is you can come back at a later date and just fix them because they still have propellant in them. You could do that. But the other thing you can do, and I've done this in the past, is if to get them never ever to drift, go into the persistent file, the save file, and literally change the period to exactly the right amount of seconds. You can just, or actually no, you change the semi-major axis to exactly 341.33 and the eccentricity down to 0. And so they're all exactly the same, and then they'll never ever drift on each other. But that's a personal thing if you really want to do that, because you'll never get it exactly right that you can go years and years down the future and they won't drift on you a little bit. But I consider it acceptable. Okay, let's see. Let's get closer to periapsis and do this final one. But they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine for our purposes. Okay, RCS on. There's our little carrier vehicle. It did a great job. Just gonna wait till I'm maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds from periapsis. Okay, let's go. And again, 3 hours. And once again, I'm going to turn this thrust limiter down to like 5. There we go. Every time I hit 0, I think it's the 0 or is it the period? Is it the period? Yeah, it's the period that makes that go back and forth on the numpad. Okay, and a little bit of H's. Some bunch of H's here. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. There we go. RCS off. Just get this all aligned here. Let's put it back on orbital because it's easier. There we go. All right, and these guys should just happily do their relay thing. I'm looking for the alarm clock button. There it is. Let's switch over. Oh, wait, I got to rename this one. This one is Moon Relay number 3. And let's switch over to Moon Relays. Switch to that target. And this guy is just going to go to its demise. Oh, crash it after the seismometer. I'll find other things. I don't want this thing hanging around. If I don't have to have it hanging around, I prefer to see it gone. Oh, I have the thrust almost nothing. There we go. Yeah, if you put a seismometer, then, you know, impactors, but you know what? Let's just, I don't know. There we go. Periapsis is now gone negative. And now you can sit here, go back to map view, and you can like admire your little network here. Here, let's get rid of this one. See that? This guy's gonna fall to its demise, but we got ourselves this lovely getting some flashing happening, which is getting on my nerves, but let's go until this guy's met its demise. I think it's gonna work. Oh, I'm slowing down the time warp, am I? Okay. You know what? Let's get back to Space Center. That's gonna die. Let's get some other stuff going. Oh, if you crash the mothership into the moon, there's some sort of milestone. Oh, maybe I should go back to it. There might be a milestone. I don't want to risk missing it. Let's watch it crash. Good point. Let's watch it crash. Okay, so Moon Relays. Go. Watch yourselves on the knives, ham sandwich, if you're doing dishes while watching the stream. Okay. All right, so we are coming down, and actually, while we're coming down here, I always like to recognize my most recent Patreon patrons and YouTube members to show them one of the tiny things I do to try and show how much I do appreciate what it is that they do. And my most recent Patreon patron is Marquess of Pudding and Custard Convections. I gotta say, I am impressed with the name. So thank you very much, Marquess, and thanks, of course, to everyone who supports this channel in a direct way, either through Patreon or through a YouTube membership. But we'll watch this guy come to its demise here on the surface of the moon. And then, so someone's saying we should get a milestone? Let's see, I see another notification up there. Okay, that was still rather undramatic, wasn't it? What's over here? We do have some milestones. Let's go back to Space Center now. The CCCP hand grenade. Yeah, that's a classic. Oh, well, thank you, OB3 Kenobi, for becoming a novice Rocketeer. It is very, very much appreciated. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah, I had a notification. A world first milestone, so we do have it. You have entered into a suborbital flight of the moon. That's all I got. But notice that I'm getting this great big giant bonus of 140,000 funds. That's thanks to my moon program. So every time I get a milestone around the moon, I get a nice big bonus for it. Okay, now anyway, one of the things I do want to do is I want to collect more science. I'm at 57 science, which is actually enough to start to unlock one of these nodes. But I am saving up for, let me get this one, applied science. It's 85, and mostly here because like the GravMax negative gravioli detector is something that can collect tons of science. We're getting all of these little science doobies, atmosphere fluid. I want to get more science parts. So I think this one's a good thing just for me to save up for. So, oh, I also have this wonderful experiment return unit that I can store experiments into, return them back to Kerbin. Great for things like the mystery goo and the materials bay. Okay, let's take a look at contracts. I think it's been a little while since I've... Oh, unlock lights. Yeah, I should unlock lights. It's pretty far on the tech tree. Okay, the comm relays, I am done because the rest of... Oh, it says place another one around the moon? Okay, I'm not... Guess once you get one, you can do another. Exploration Plus, land on the moon. I don't think this is going anywhere. Not going to do that today. And this is uncrewed. Definitely, I got to land for the moon program 3 times on the moon in different biomes. So that's definitely something that will be coming up. What's the Kerbal Academy advanced piloting? This one's trickier than they intended because you got to start with an inclination of below 5 degrees and then change your inclination to 45 degrees. But because we are launching from Cape Canaveral, our lowest inclination is going to be 28 degrees. So that's a tougher contract than it looks. I'm going to stay away from planes for a little bit. I'm just looking to see, okay, first docking, first moon landing. Yeah, I love stations. Like manned orbit, put a Kerbal in orbit for 30 days. These are all for the future. A bunch of rescue contracts. I got enough Kerbals for now. Gather scientific data from the moon's highlands. How many slots do I have? Okay, I only can collect up to 7 contracts, so I got to be a little careful. Well, that looks like one to... Expires in 37 days. Okay. Position satellites, not going to worry about that for now. Unless one of these was around the moon. Was one of these around the moon? Position a satellite in a specific orbit of the moon. I want to put up some mapping satellite. This one has an inclination. No. We won't go there. What's this one specific orbit occur? Well, that's huge. No. And then SCANsats. Okay, that's the ones I want to do. SCANsat. Oh my gosh, look at all of them. Tourism. No. Okay. No more new contracts. Let's go in here. Want to build a mapping satellite for orbit about the moon. That's what we're going to finish this off with. I know, I need to get the SCANsats around the moon. I do have the contracts, I think. Ooh, I should check. I thought I've selected the contracts. Here are my contracts. There we go. So I got this low resolution scan of Earth. Have these all somehow reset? These should be progressing. Like, I put up satellites around the Earth. Okay, maybe that's a problem for another time, but these should say I've gotten a certain percentage of the 75%. Like, where's my SCANsat map? Do I have access to it from here? That's not it. Shoot. Shoot. That's got me worried. So I gotta check my SCANsat map. Because it looks to me like those are stopped counting down. I know one of them was having some electricity issues. I think I was a little tight on putting the batteries on it. Here we go. So there's my altimetry scan of the Earth. I can believe it's not at 75%, but it is at some percent. And what's the contract say? Oh, here now it's right. Okay, it's 66%. They've come up. So basically I want to do this around the moon. The biome scan is only at 35% because that one turns off every time we get into the night side. So if I turn to the biome map, I don't know, that looks pretty good. All right. Okay. We're good. Yes, we're going to do some scanning of the moon. That's what we're going to do. So, let's get the hex probe. I always go through this. Which one? I think it's the hex that's the better one than the octo, right? I don't know why I have a brain cramp when it comes to remembering which one is the more updated one. I think they're fine. That's fine. Okay, so let's get the hex going. We want, for our science, and I'm thinking putting them all on the same vehicle would be a good idea. Now, I do have a different radar alternative. I do have this fella. Maybe I can put this on the same. Like, look at this. I didn't use this for my one around the Earth, but I mean, it is. Look at this. For doing a radar altimetry scan. As far as I can tell, it does exactly the same thing as this one does, but is clearly way more dramatic. It's heavier by 50 kilograms. It uses the same amount of electricity. Oh, this one has a higher minimum altitude, but and a higher best. So this one does it from a higher altitude. That's what this is about. The biome one is this one. I don't know. We'll see. But I want to. I mean, that looks awful cool. That's 125 kilograms. That's, see, the nice thing about this one and this one is that they have the exact same mass. So balancing that, no, I'm sorry, this one and this one. And then I can do both in the same. Oh, but the electricity. Okay, stop talking. Think about what you're doing, what you're talking about here. Let's close that. That's not what I care about. Bump. Electricity. So if we simulate both of these in the planner, because the electricity is going to be huge. It uses up 1.75 units of electric charge per second. What is my bestest solar panel? That is this guy. Well, he's 2.8, but he is kind of big. These little fellas are 0.3. Take a lot of those. Yeah, I can just build something around, like, this isn't the final thing, but something like this. Now I'm producing 1.21. It's counting in the fact. Yeah. What do you think? Check the altitude. Yeah, I was looking at the altitude. So the other one is better for a higher altitude. Is really what it comes out. The two scanning missions can be run in sequence. Wait a minute, what was that? Is that what this... Let's get back to this one. Does this one do more than what I think it does, or is it just for the... It's an entry-level L-band radar altimeter, low-resolution elevation scan. Yeah, it doesn't do... Okay. I think I'm okay. I need batteries, though. So, right now, it's only going to last for 33 seconds. I still think I'm pretty starved for batteries. So, put that there. We'll put up the density to that. It's got to last for at least 20 minutes to do the dark side of the moon. See, this is why maybe 2 separate probes is not a bad idea. This is getting really big. Just to survive the night. Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. One of these turns off at night. I think this one turns off at night. Does it not? Yeah, it requires daylight. Says so right here. So actually... I don't need batteries. Still going to be pretty bloody big. So we take this one out of the simulator. There. Now I got 22 minutes of battery. That's a lot of batteries. I can probably make this look better, though. Yeah, I upgraded the battery density. I did do that. Pretty sure I did. Just check to make sure. Yeah, it's at 75%. Just going to try and make sort of these kind of a battery package, as it were. So that hopefully we can do this in a more compressed way. You know what I mean? Well, that's going to last for 30 minutes. What if I went down to 6 ways on these and 6 ways on these? That's 25 minutes. That's pretty good. And it's not like stupidly... And actually, they kind of fit underneath these big solar panels not bad. Maybe I put 1 pair on the top. That's not... this is looking a little terrible there. Okay, why don't I just stick this on, and then we'll think about how we're going to get it there. So, what do I have for fairings? Oh, I do have fairings. Because what I could do... No, no fairing yet. Oh, that's the little one. I do have the little one, too. Okay. Get the little one. Turn on the interstage nodes. I'm thinking as I'm doing. Tuck this under here. Just trying to make a probe that doesn't look completely terrible. And of course, I might be building something. I might have trouble getting to the moon, but to me, there's something that doesn't look completely ridiculous. Everything's kind of tucked away nice. Has the electric charge that's required. It should be good. So there's what I'm thinking of doing. What do you think? Okay, so to get it to the moon, I did write these numbers down, is 920 meters per second from low Kerbin orbit. The capture is about little 230, about 230, something like that. So what's that? 920, that's 1,050. Give it another 1,000 so it can do the upper part of the orbital insertion. So I'm looking at something. That's something that can have about, I said 1,000, about 2,000. In and around 2,000 meters per second. I'm just going to write that down for a budget. 1,050? Yeah. For the actual, okay. For the actual mission, and then like 3,600 to get it. I think I'm going to switch this, now I'm looking at it, to the bigger protective shell. Can put on the interstage nodes. I like the idea of tucking this back in here. We'll do some balancing for thrust and stuff like that, but now I'm thinking I can probably build this fairing just around this. And then just get a rocket under that. Yeah, I should do it. Do I have the DV calculators fixed? No. I don't. I do think it had to do with all of the weird staging, so hopefully the staging will be more normal than I did last time. So I'm really hoping I don't run into a lot of the same sort of issues as I did before. My biggest, well, I do have, I don't know if I don't have 2.5 meter. I like him. Trying to build something that's a little bit more interesting. I'm thinking now of the actual vehicle, just getting it there. So I'm hoping this staging isn't so complicated that it will get all messed up. Let's see what... Here we're seeing 4,000. And here we're seeing 3,400. 4,000? Could that possibly be right? I have no staging in here. Let's delete the fairing. Why does deleting the fairing bring down the delta V? I'm getting worried. I'm getting worried about my numbers again. Oh my, no. Why? Why do you have to be so hard? This is on vacuum. This feels really high. I can't believe. Let's launch. Because I can still revert back. Oh, I'm unable to. Ah, shoot. That doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. Because I'm about to say I could simulate it into orbit, but then when I'm running this crash simulator... Sorry, I think I just pushed this stupid thing into here. I did. Scrap that vessel. Yep. Okay. Go away. Go away. Alright. I'm on Earth. Yeah, I'm on Earth. Why wouldn't I want to be on Earth? Yeah, okay, so I gotta figure out why are the TWRs? The TWRs aren't in the same ballpark? You would not think. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do the dummy payload thing. So, here's how we're gonna do the dummy payload thing. What's the mass of this? This is, because this solved the problem last time. This is 592 kilograms. So I'm going to write that number down. 592 kilograms. If it's going to be this frustrating, I wouldn't have thought what I'm got here is that complicated, but obviously the game does. So I'm going to throw this in here. Oh dear. I guess I got to grab this by the probe core. There. Oh, I need to put a decoupler or something under it. Okay, let's make that the root part. So I'm going to throw this into here. And this is simply my payload. Save that. And then I'm going to go over to here. And down under utility, I should have this utility weight. I'm going to make that the root part. And I'm really hoping now that these guys are going to... These guys still don't agree. Wow. Now this is saying... Oh, wait, I still got to put some mass into this. So this has to be... What did I say? 592 kilograms. So how does this work? No, I don't care about the size. That's 1 ton, 2 ton. Okay. That's in tons. Oh my, here we go. Oh, I can just put in the number. 592 kilograms. Okay, so that now has the same mass as my payload. What does this say now? This says 4,044. This says 3,427. However, this, I think that's the same as what I had before. Is it not? Like, how can this be complicated? How can this possibly be complicated? Yeah, I don't want to pull out the calculator. I got a spreadsheet for this too, but I really like, that's not a lot of fun, especially once you get a lot of parts. Wow. I'm gonna trust Kerbal Engineer. I mean, what else can I do other than trust? But 4,044 sounds like what it was before. If I grab this, throw this off, go to here, grab that payload, put it back on, that's the same. So at least Kerbal Engineer seems to be consistent. We can say that about it. Okay, with this. Oh, now stock is saying 4,000. Okay, I'm going with 4,044. I'm seeing that a lot. Okay. So, okay. And all I need, I wrote it down somewhere. I got too many numbers. I need about 2,000. So this is about twice as much fuel as what I need, if these numbers can be trusted. Let's see. So let's see if I can scale this a little bit. I should probably, oh, here, I need to go back to make the root part here. Might have a lot to do with what the root parts are. I don't know. It's so weird. How can this be more? I just put less fuel on you and you're saying it's a higher delta V. I'm going to throw this away. Let's go with some just regular sized tanks. Sparky Spark. Sparky Spark, my friend, the Sparky. Like, this is all I need according to this. This is like so... I am not, Peter's asking about going to 0.6 instead for safety reasons. I'll round up the delta V, that's for sure. But I'd like to get something that's reasonably consistent with, you know, let's again make this the root part. I find it weird how changing the root part makes such a huge difference. Again, we'll put in the 592 kilograms again. That's saying 2,258. This is saying now, it makes no sense. All right. This one seems to be the more consistent number. TWR 1.08 seems like about perfect, so I'm kind of gonna go with this. I'm gonna kind of go with this. Whether this works or not, I don't know. But we're going to do this. Okay, what is the... Do I have any kind of torquey torque? I do. So there's probably... That looks pretty centered, but I can probably move this around here. I'm looking at the torque here. 0.12 kilonewton meters. So I want to see if centering this... Yeah, this is making it better. To a point. Okay, and then this way. So 0.1. Okay, there we go. So that's centered there. I'm gonna go with it. Let's put some stuff under this. So I need an engine plate, I think, right here to deal with this. This one. And that can go there, and then I can get... I'm gonna do the same thing with these Mark 1 fuel cans. That's not working the way I wanted. I was hoping I was going to get a nice closed thingy in there, but it does not look like that's what it's going to want to give me. That's just color differences. Let's see. So let's try this a different way. That doesn't seem to do what I want it to do, so I'm gonna put that back. We're gonna put on the little TD dash whatever decoupler, the 06 one. That's a stack separator. This guy. I'm gonna put you in there. We're gonna take the shroud off, and then I'm gonna get a fairing base because I can't seem to get the. Stick that there, and we're gonna just enclose that. Make it. That's gonna be my. Boom. There. There. This is going to never be staged. Beautiful. Yep. And that will get staged. That should work. Okay, and this is now just liquid fuel, so we're going to use the configurable containers to change this to liquid fuel and oxidizer because I don't have a tank that big yet. LFO, max it, add it, there we go. Stick a swivel under that. You have to use the lower attachment point. Okay, I'm gonna take another shot then at the... People are telling me I was doing this wrong, so I'll take another shot at this. Maybe I was using the wrong attachment point, I'm being told. Let's see. Engine plate. Oh, it's way down the F down there. Sorry, I just noticed where that attachment point was. It's like way down here. Oh my gosh, that's what I was shooting for. So let's throw all this away. I did not realize it was so far down. Okay, and then we'll... where's that? That's what I was shooting for. Engine plate. How do you get this to be smaller? Short. How short is that? Short enough. I'm happy. Okay, there. That's got me happier. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Put that back on compact. Let's get a swivel under that. Oh, I do have this Kodiak still. Let's get the Kodiak under there. I think that's more powerful than the swivel, isn't it? Yep. The mighty Kodiak. And I'm looking for a total DV for the entire mission. 30... That's not much. 36, 37, 38, 3,800. That's a lot right there. I don't need this. This isn't getting anywhere near as big as I was worried it was going to get. I don't think I need that. I think I can go back to the swivel. That feels like a lot. I think I'm good. I think I'm just going to go over this. Okay, and we need the basic tail fins down here. Feels really small, doesn't it? Which is exactly the issue I ran into last time. But I guess there's no way to find out but to actually just run the thing along. Okay, so... yeah, let's So I got 4,300, and I'm figuring that's more than plenty. More than plenty. Like I'm just trying to think if I'm just forgetting some, but I'm not. 36. Oh, I am. I can't add. That's not enough. What a ding dong. I'm having adding problems. You know, carrying the one and all that kind of stuff. I was thinking that looks really small. I need about 4,700 meters per second. That should be plenty there. And I still got lots of thrust on the bottom. I sure do. There. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's build this fairing. But I tell you, that delta V calculator issue is going to be the death of me in this series. Clamshell deploy. 3 sides. Lots of force. There we go. Take it out of the staging. We'll set up some oh, I didn't put any antennas on this. Oh, for goodness sakes. There's no antennas on there. There's no antennas on there. Okay, put the fairing on action group 5, but that's an issue. And I think as far as speed goes, this thing's going to generate a lot of data. Like, it tells you here, like, how much data I think it does. Somewhere. Maybe it's down here. Oh, it's not on this list. SCANsat stuff. I think it generates a ton of data. So what I think I'm gonna do, just for data issues, and I did this with I'm gonna put 2 of these HG5s. I'm gonna sneak them in here somewhere. Oh wait, 1 should be enough. 2 doesn't make a difference. Silly Billy. Alright, I'm just gonna sneak that in there. There's my antenna. We are winging this. Toggle the antenna is on 0. Core science, yep. Now, I'm going to get into here. We're going to configure the unmanned experiments. A telemetry port does nothing for me anymore. The temperature scan does nothing for me anymore. But what I've not done around the moon is a biome scan. Or, sorry, what am I talking about? The site experiment. So I am going to put this on the site experiment. Right there. Now the site experiment is biome specific, space high above the moon. So I'm going to put this initially into an orbit. Yeah, we'll do that. Put it in an orbit above 100 kilometers. Might, you know what makes more sense? Come low, collect this 1 hour of low space science, and then come above 60 kilometers and just leave it there to collect this biome specific high science. And we'll put it in a polar orbit. So that's the site experiment it's going to do. So we'll turn that on. That's the only experiment. So these, this is Mun Mapper 1. Okay, and launch TWR is fine. I'm inclined to give this a simulation and see what happens. Oh wait, Let's change the root part back to the probe body as it should be. KOS. KOS has got to make its way into here. There we go. Whether this is going to work. Oh, engine upgrades. Yep. Engine upgrades, we'll go back and look at that. Especially for that upper stage, the little spark engine. That might have multiple firings. Well, it will have multiple firings. But right now, I just want to see if it gets to orbit and if it has anywhere near... Remember last time I did this, last week, I got something to orbit, and then by the time I got to orbit, I had hardly any fuel. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run our basic orbit program. And hopefully everything will be ducky and cool. Now I did make a few changes with this orbit program. One of the things is that, you might recall I put in a self-detecting whether the thrust was big enough. And then it won't, if it thinks that the thrust is not big enough, it won't let it go. I've adjusted that because it ended up letting it go after an engine failed and things went bad. But I'm hoping this will all work good. Alright. It still feels small to me, but who knows? It's not ugly. Are you ugly? You're not ugly. It's functional. That's what you're always going for. Yeah, sim cost is 0. I broke it. I turned off all the sim costs. So I will never have any sim costs. I just turned that right off. And the reason is because I was doing coding while simulating, and that just was adding way too much to the costs. Smart part staging, good idea. So what do we got? We got to upgrade engines, put in smart parts. Upgrade engines, put in smart parts. Only needs one, actually. Time warp up a little bit. Okay, should be getting the fairings at 50 kilometers, I think. Oh. Also should be staging. There we go. It's not bad. I kind of like this whole little kind of just, you know, a box. It's a good look, the box. All right, let's see. We are, once this gets below 55 seconds to the apogee, it should increase the throttle. No, 50, there it goes. Yep, that part's working. That was a problem I was having a few weeks ago. The antenna's on here. It's tucked in here. There should be an HG5 somewhere. Oh, did an antenna break off? I see that something broke. Did an antenna break off with that fairing? Okay, there's something to think about. All right, 3 things. I think you're right. I think the antenna broke off. I missed that. Fairing took an antenna with it. Do you think I'm a good enough according to engineer? According to engineer, we got about 1,200 meters per second left. I think the stock one's completely confused. I don't trust this number at all. But I know that the KRASH simulator somehow messes this up. I'm not quite understanding why it does, but apparently it does. But we got, I worked out about 10, I wouldn't mind putting a bit more fuel on this. This is a little tight if this is a true number. I think I'm going to put a little more fuel on this. Yeah, this is tight. Because I worked out about 1050 for the mission, and that's with pretty much 0 wiggle room. And I can see now I'm just at 1,000 meters per second, and I'm not even in an orbit yet. So what I might just do is add in some more fuel and Call it. Plus all the other things that went wrong. So we got a 71 meter per second burn. I got to add a few more 100 meters per second onto this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to revert back. Terminate. Yeah, I'm going to add more fuel to the lower stage. I'm going to leave the probe alone. But the fuel's going to be added to the beginning. All right, so what I'm just going to do, I want to see, because I still don't trust this number, but I want to see it go up by a few 100 meters per second. Actually, this number now, I don't think it's the same as what it was before. 36, 46? No. This actually feels right based on what I just saw. I would love it to be closer to 5,000. So let's see if I just take this and stick on this. Because I got a lot of thrust. Ah, poop. I keep hitting the wrong of those little nodes. There we go. Make you a little taller. Can the swivel do this? If the swivel can't do this, I can go bigger. Yep, swivel can just do that. I'm gonna go with this. Okay, now somehow, oh, smart part. That was the other thing we talked about. So put a drain X McJob on there. And this antenna broke when that fairing, yeah, I think it's here. It's too close to the fairing. So let's see if I can find a happier home. It's a pretty tight fit all around, isn't it? If I just went... I know there's clipping and stuff going on, but I'm really in the mood just to get this done. I'm hoping that will be okay. I'll test the fairing in just a second. So what have we done? We added more fuel. We fixed that antenna. We put on a smart part. Was there anything else? Yeah, the fairing clipped through the solar panel. Engines, thank you. I knew there was something. Okay, let's see. Spark engine. I'm just going to upgrade the spark. I think that should be fine. Whoa. We have different models here? Sorry, I'm just... Engine switch to the 48.7Q Tinder? What's the difference between those? I get more DV... Oh, wow. I don't know where that's coming from. Upgrade. Oh, it's an engine upgrade. 20% increase in thrust and 10% increase in specific impulse. Wow. That's cool. And, neato. Okay, that's cool. And is there and then I can up the quality as well. Wow. Sorry. That's a cool thing. So now if I put that on, I'm now over 4,000 meters per second. That makes me feel much, much better. I think that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to leave that exactly like that. Okay, we're going to do one more sim. But the only purpose of this sim... Oh, we are your... Where's your checklist? Yeah, you're right. I got a checklist. And am I checking the checklist? No, I'm not checking the checklist. Yeah, I think that's the Kiwi tech tree that put in that engine upgrade. That's pretty neat. That is pretty neat. It's kind of like, you know, the RP1 Lite with their engine upgrades. That is really cool. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is hit 5. There we go. And do I still have my antenna? Yep. So that time that came without the antenna. So that seemed okay. I'm gonna build this and go. Terminate simulation. Yes, go through my checklist. My goodness, I have a checklist and I didn't even look at it. Which is what I'm always want to do. I'm always in such a hurry, and then I probe checklist. Okay, there's KOS probe process. Doesn't need a flight program. Did put in the right boot file. Science has been configured. The experiments are on. There's no real need for data storage. That should be okay. No, it isn't collecting samples. Communications is good. Electrical storage, electrical generation is good. Various parts have been upgraded. It has attitude control. I don't have lights yet. Textures, it's close. It's good enough. TWR I checked. Staging, check your staging. That is good. Okay, I think we're good. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this. And that's been added to the queue. And actually, I'm going to build something else really simple. The SCANsat, absolutely, but that's why I put the big antenna on it. And I found with the big antenna, it seemed to do okay. Maybe I'm mistaken in that. I'm hoping the antenna is fast enough, but maybe I am mistaken in that, Michael. Okay, what I want to do, because I got 2 building bays, so I'm going to build actually one more very, very quick probe. And this is to do the MITE experiment in space high above the Earth. So we're going to configure this. Just have 2 things going. And the only thing I care about is the MITE experiment. So the MITE experiment is right here. It requires you to be in a minimum inclination of 70 degrees, so a polar orbit. It is biome-specific space low. But what I do have one doing space low stuff, but I don't have one doing space high stuff. So I want to get it into space high, which is over 250 kilometers. That's going to be it. So it's not much of a probe. Very little probe. So let's see. We'll turn the MITE on. And maybe I'll edit that and put in some. This fella should be fine with just a Communitron 16 on it. There we go. And let's take a look at electricity usage. It only consumes 1.35, so that's not a lot of electricity usage, so we should be able to just get away with doing this. And this is going to be the Octo MITE. I forgot my numbers, so this is just a MITE experiment. That's all it is. In the dark, it will last for 4 minutes. It needs to do a little better than that. Energy density there. Now it'll last for 22 minutes. Let's put a couple of these guys on it too. Actually, let's just put on one more of these. There we go. Now it'll last for 41 minutes. Let's build a little probe out of this. What do I got for little engines? Like, this shouldn't be much. Stick an ant under there. Oops. Kerbal Engineer. There we go. Yep, a little more. How's the Oscar A heavier than... No, that doesn't... Oh, I'm doing it by name, you dope. Let's just replace it with an Oscar B. Oh my gosh, that's a ton now. How come there's such a difference between the... I would have thought that's 680. Wow. Okay. Let's maybe put on a couple of these fellas. It's rotating it the wrong way. And again, we'll configure these to be LFO tanks. How much DV is that now? That's 1,000. Me likey. 0.73 is maybe a little bit on the wussy side. Let's see. Maybe 2 of these ants. Can I get 2 in here? Yeah, I can. Happy days. That should be good. Do a little bit of clipping, which everybody hates, but I don't care. I want to get this done. Okay, so there we go. There's my little mite satellite. And now what I want... What do I have for little structure parts? Oh, I do have these. Here. I do have a decoupler. Okay. So there you go. And I'm just going to fire this and put it into a polar orbit. And that should be good. So, a little fairing around that. A KOS probe core. Boot file. That's actually no, just the basic one. Yeah. Mark 1 fuel tank. Again, and it doesn't become my favorite trick with all of my rockets until I get the bigger tanks. LFO max add. Swivel engine on the bottom. Plenty of fuel. That should be monstrous. Okay, I'm going to have to really turn down the TWR on this engine because it is huge. Actually, maybe a smidge more fuel. Because I'm thinking all of a sudden I am putting this in a polar orbit. That one. That makes me feel better. Turn up this thrust to weight. Good stuff. Now, is there anything on that ant engine that I can upgrade? Just from standard, but it's 77 ignitions as it is. I'm just going to leave it. All right. And I am not even. It's got an antenna. Let's just do action groups. That's on 5. The antenna's on 0. And check the staging. That's good, that's good, that good. Antenna out of the way. Boom, boom, boom. Done. And I'm not even going to test this. I am so confident. So that's... I'm in the mood to just let her fly. So we're just going to build this one. Yeah, I probably should be building lifters for certain weights. I still don't have a lot of fuel cans, But maybe that's something to think about, is to just start building standard lifters. Especially if I just keep using those Mark 1 fuel cans. Okay, now it was pointed out that perhaps this Mun Mapper... Sure. Yeah, I have done that in the past, set up a library of different boosters, but I don't know. I always get in a hurry. Okay, so what's this? Oh yeah, I wanted to up the data storage, because I do have 2 SCANsat things going. So the data capacity, there we go. Put it up as big as it goes. I did say edit this, right? I thought, okay. Yes, save edits. Save it here. Save it here too. Okay. Alright, so now I got 2 of these fellas being built here. The little tiny octomites, only going to take 2 days. I do have some upgrades to spend. Why don't I spend those? They've been kind of being here for a little bit. So, whoops. Come here. So let's add... Let's just add a bit to... We got 5, so let's add 2 to here, and then... 2. I'll leave 2 in reserve in case I go and do something else. Okay, we're gonna build. It's only gonna take 2 days to build that thing. And we're gonna stick up that little mite experiment that I in no way tested. So this could go really badly. Okay, so launch. Any suggestions on vanilla orbital planes? I do have a couple of tutorials where I build some simple SSTOs. If that's what you're referring to. I also like to build the sort of plane in an egg thing where you build a really small plane, a really small glider, like a little shuttle, and you can, if you use the Mark II cockpit and that Mark II crew cabin, that is 6 Kerbals that can fit into there. You put on a little docking port, you put on just a little bit of fuel and a couple of little engines that kind of push it around while it's in orbit, and you stick it on top of a 2.5 meter lifter under a big fairing. That's one of my favorite little things to build. And you can do it reasonably early. I find that fun. We'll get to something like that later. Okay, so this thing is going to... Oh shoot, I just realized something too. It's going to have to go into a polar orbit. And I don't remember what parameters or the order of parameters in my orbit program. So I'm just going to type orbit, but I'm bringing up Visual Studio. I'm not going to show it to you folks. All I'm looking at is, if it shows up, there it is. All I'm looking at is what parameters do I have to give this thing. Because I was always using just the default before, but now I want to go into a polar orbit. So, sorry. I'll be with you in just a moment. The parameters it takes are a heading and then a desired apoapsis. Okay, so, and the desired apoapsis is in meters. Okay, that's the kind of thing I'm looking at. So a heading, let's head off, run, and we'll head towards, or sorry, run orbit. What the heck am I writing here? Run orbit. I want to go to a heading. I want to eventually end up in a polar orbit. Let's head to the south and go a little bit west of south. So let's call it 183 degrees and see what that does for us. And I want to end up in a 275,000 meter orbit, 275 kilometers. 0 testing. Here we go. Okay, because for the mite experiment, it does want to be in a polar orbit. So this is just for a little bit more science. I'm not gonna... Ham Sandwich is asking about me live streaming an RP1 video. I don't live stream RP1. Because I have a tendency when I live stream to really rush things and try to punch through things as quickly as I can. RP1, I have to take my time. Also with RP1, it isn't unusual to spend hours designing something and have it not work. But like, it's just not, in my mind, maybe at some point where I really know what I'm doing with RP1, but I don't. I've never played through an RP1 campaign before. It's completely new to me, and so I don't want to do it live stream. So, no, I guess is the short answer to that. I'm going to lose the script when I lose that lower stage. You're 100% correct. So I'll have to be ready to sort of take over manually because I put the probe core on the lower stage. That wasn't well thought out. But hopefully this will do a decent amount of everything before that. But you're absolutely right. This is going to disappear. We'll have to switch to manual. Don't mess up. I thought KSP is all as high duck there, saying don't mess up because his boss is watching and he's trying to convince him to play KSP, and I'm like, wow, KSP is all about messing up. Alright, how are we doing here? We still got about 1,000 meters per second left in this, so that's all working pretty good. Heading towards the south, coming over Cuba. Heading towards Central America here. Should really pay attention to what's going rather than sightseeing. So again, all this is about, I really slapped it together really quickly, but all this is about, look at that. Look at my orbital prograde vector getting very close to the 180. What's my inclination doing? Oh, it just snapped to prograde. Okay, that's cool. But my inclination's 88 degrees. That's not bad for just a guess at the 183. Should have been probably pitched over a little bit further west. Okay, I'm going to be losing this stage, and then I'm going to have to get ready to go manual. Unfortunately. What's my... Or am I going to hit 80 kilometers first? Okay, stage. And break this. And SAS on and throttle up. Okay, here we go. Full throttle. Okay, so now we're on manual here. That was my own. And I'm pulling this prograde vector towards the 180 degree heading so that I'm a little more... I'm gonna try and go for a polar orbit, try and bring that inclination right up to 90 degrees. But I'm also looking at my apoapsis here. Actually, I can reduce this throttle a lot and calm down. Calm down, take my time. Oh, we're in. Extend that antenna, we're in space. This is useless. How's my inclination doing? 90.2. Let's just lock this to prograde. Just call it. There we go. Oh, what am I going for? Or 275. That's what I'm going for. Correct. They're matching now. Yeah, Kerbal Engineer and the stock is matching in their numbers. That's encouraging. I'm going to just cut this throttle at... They're about 262. I got 202 meters per second, but I'm almost in an orbit as it is. Let's put this on free. Okay, let's get up there. We're heading southwards. We've come over. We're over the Pacific here. Got the Andes on our left. Pay attention to your time to apoapsis. We're coming up to Antarctica pretty soon. I got to be careful that I don't... Whoa, whoa, we got communication lines everywhere. Let's clean that up a bit. I think I'm going to be okay. There's my Apple Wapses. I got some sort of ground station right here, so I think I'm going to be okay. I didn't even think about that. We'll just finish this off. So what was that final inclination come out? 90.2. I can't complain about that. Okay, so just bring the periapsis up to roughly the same as the Apple apsis, and we're calling this. Good's enough. Again, orient this for solar panel purposes, but really this should be pretty much it. That looks good to me. Going over to here, the mite experiment is running. It's only going to take 10 minutes, so this is like a pretty trivial little exercise, but that's okay. Okay, back to the Space Center. That's going to do its job. That was successful. What do you know? What do you know? "39 meters per second left is pretty accurate. I didn't even look. So that's what I had left, 39 meters per second. That's you may say it's pretty accurate. You may also say it was pretty lucky. I was sort of shooting from the hip there for sure. Okay, reconditioning the launch pad. Let's get the other rocket up in the time that we have left. Let's roll it out. And let's warp to sunrise. Don't want to do a night launch. And let's launch. And yeah, recover the junk that's on the launch pad. Oh, cancel. Did I roll out the wrong one? I rolled out the wrong one. Oh my gosh. I don't want to launch you. Can I... How do you roll it back? Can't you just roll it back? Roll back. There we go. Okay, that was dumb. Oh, it's still being built, for goodness sakes. There we go. Now roll out the right one. All of a sudden I saw that Jebediah was getting aboard. Oh, there's no mercy. That's the Onion, yeah. So I have this Onion single crew just kind of keeping on reserve. It's been sitting there for a while. I do have a two-person capsule now, so I can start building two-person ones, but I kind of want to concentrate on finishing off that moon probes thing. Okay. All right, so I don't have... Well, let's see. So if this is going to the moon, this is always the thing with the moon. I'm starting to get used to this idea, though. You got because of the moon's inclination, but all we have to do is launch when we are... Oh, we got to time warp all the way around to here. Ah, stinky. Okay. Unfortunately, because the moon's in an inclined orbit and because of our latitude, we have to launch right around here. And then that way, when we launch, our orbit will naturally go towards the equator, and that will put us into an orbit that's roughly of the right inclination. So I'm just looking to be right underneath that yellow line. Let's see how this is lining up. Seems to be pretty good. Maybe a little further. Let's go for it. Okay, so this is going to be just a normal launch. So run orbit. We're going to go straight towards the east, but our orbit will be inclined because of what our latitude is. And it turned out I got my night launch after all. Oh yeah, that's right. Kerbal Engineer should have the time to the ascending node. Why don't I set that up right now, and then I hopefully won't forget that for the next time. So if I go to Kerbal Engineer, and I go to, let's edit the second HUD, and I go to Rendezvous, there should be a time to the relative ascending node and a time to the relative descending node, which that's, oh actually that doesn't quite work because we're not launching at the, I don't know, does that work? It looks like it works because I just missed one by 5 minutes. See that? The other one says 4 minutes. I don't know. But these numbers might have helped me. But then again, they might not have. But I'll have those numbers there, so next time I'll look at them and see if they're useful for me. So I'm still not used to launching from not the equator. Is the sun going to come up anytime soon? Nah. Yeah, we'll be launching into the sunrise. Sun will come up that way. Yeah, so anyway, now that I've set this, put this here, this will be here for the next time I try to go to the moon, and there will 100% be a next time. But I do agree, I think these numbers are useful. Okay. Yeah, you gotta love the waterfall mod on the. Sometimes it actually it even looks better at night with a dark background. Looks really, really good. Okay. Now this time everything should happen automatically. I do have the probe core up here on the payload. They're the KOS core, so I won't be losing my script and having to take over manually. I can also, while this is going on here, oh, there goes our fairings. Hopefully that didn't break an antenna away this time. There it is. I still see the antenna, so that's good. Alright, about to lose. I'll put on Kerbal Engineer here again, but I'm about to lose this stage. Just make sure all that works okay. Before I go any further. Oh, never mind. It decided that we are at our target. Anyway, okay, so what we're going to do, edit this. Also under Rendezvous, I should have a relative inclination, and this will give me a pretty good idea how I do. So I'm 6.78 degrees off from where I should be as far as my inclination to the moon. But that's not terrible, considering how much of that was done just with eyeball. Okay, we are almost in space. The sun will be coming up soon. And now, unfortunately, I do have to cancel my KOS program because the script has it cannot handle the staging event that's going to be in the middle of this. Now, I am going to, because I think this thrust to weight ratio is probably ridiculous. It is. So I'm going to turn that down. Okay. Oh, shoot. Start the burn in... Oh, my gosh. Starting my burn in 4 seconds. 3, 2, I wasn't paying attention. Go. Ah, that was a violent staging event that shook me all around. I didn't realize I was that close. I'm not used to my periapsis being as low as it is. That's... Oh, my SAS isn't on. For goodness sakes. Why is this so hard? There's a feeling of driftitude in this. I'm really kind of fighting with it. Back here. A little bit at the end. That was kind of a sloppy one. Oh my gosh, it's getting sloppier as I speak. Let's pitch down. So my periapsis is, my apoapsis is getting away on me, so I'm just gonna... Okay, I'm done. I'm in an orbit. It's not pretty, but it's an orbit nonetheless. So there we go. It's there. It's got 1,471 meters per second left, and both the game and Kerbal Engineer are agreeing on that number. Also, I budgeted 1,050 meters per second for the remainder of this mission, so that makes me at least a little bit confident that this is going in the right direction. Again, I'm just orienting this a bit for solar panel purposes. But what I'm thinking is that, looking at the time of the stream, we're just crossed over the 2-hour mark, is that I will leave the insertion of this in orbit about the moon for next episode. So, in the meantime, I'm going to thank everybody in the chat. I'm going to thank everybody that is watching this at a later date. And of course, an extra heartfelt thank you to all of my Patreon patrons and YouTube members. Have yourselves a fantastic week. Next week, back on Tuesdays. So we'll see you all next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.